In this video, I'll demonstrate how to create a structural information model using the already linked in geospatial grids file. So this is the end result. This is what you'll be creating in this demonstration. So let's delete that and go to site level. And if we look at the grids, we can see 3, 4, 5 and 6. And structural tab, structural column, and let's just change the height of that. So we'll say the height is up to level 3 and it's starting on model site on grids. And if we use a crossing window, we're going to cross between grids 5 and 4 and the two intersecting grids that cross that. And your columns are placed there, so we'll see that in 3D. There are the 4 columns where the 4 grid lines intersected. So if we go to level 1, we can create the beams. So structural tab, beams, and this is where you would find the various different types of beam. We'll just use the default. And again, using on grid lines. And again, we'll use a crossing window to intersect the 4 grid lines. And what's created from that are the 4 beams that go between the columns, but we have other beams to create. These would be known as the primary framing. If we select them, then they'll be selected as and identified as primary framing, but we can manually create structure as well. So back to level 1, and again back to beam, and this time we'll use the line sketch tools and thin lines. And let's change the detail level to coarse. By changing the detail level to coarse, that makes it much easier to snap to this point here, which would be the midpoint of the beam, and then out to the other grid line, and again the same at the bottom. We don't see them because the detail level has been set to coarse, but they will be drawn from one vertical grid line to the next vertical grid line. And then near the bottom, I'm going to create 2 shorter beams, and again the lengths of these would be defined in either sketches or drawings that you'd be working to. And again on the right hand side, so the reason I'm not using on grids this time is that there are no columns for the beams to snap to, so we have to draw them in manually using the draw sketch tools. And that's what it would look like. But back to level 1. And what we'll do now is switch the detail level back to fine so that we can see them, and then we can control the lengths or the dimensions of the various beams. So we may be given dimensions from the top grid line down or the bottom grid line up. And then if we select the beam, we can just change the dimension. So let's say 500 millimeters. And again the same here. Edit that to 500 millimeters. Or a quicker way to do that, let's delete this beam. So we can add the dimension ourselves, or clicking on the object and we get a temporary dimension. Obviously selecting this point here will result in a permanent dimension, and then we can edit that dimension. And then once we have one beam, let's use copy and use one base point to another base point. And there we go, structural model at level 1 is complete. And what we need to do then is select all instances visible in the view. So all the framing have been selected. Let's use copy to the clipboard. And then when we use paste, aligned to selected levels. Now this is level 1, so we need level 2 and 3. And paste to levels 2 and 3. And that would be a project information model, which we would then save as either volume 1 or volume 2, etc.